as I was saying, the this is how we isolate that particular factor. So the rotation is, in fact, opposites depending on where you are in the north or the south.
Well, I just disagree. I don't, and I don't agree with the pendulum being proof of that the Earth is rotating. So there's more motions than just the Earth's rotation. That's not all the Earth is doing. There's many motions that are part of the heliocentric model, not just rotating Earth.
Okay, could you name one?
Yeah, the Earth, while it's rotating about, I don't know, over 1,040 miles per hour, it's also going around the sun about, I don't know, approximately 66,000 miles per hour, and then the entire galaxy is allegedly hurtling through space up in the, like, I don't know, 600, thousand or million miles per hour. It just starts getting more and more insane, and all these motions are going on at the same time. So why is your pendulum only accounting for the motion of the alleged rotation of the Earth?
Because motion is relative, and the effects of the galaxy moving through the universe wouldn't have an effect on this
Why not?
particular.
How could that possibly be?
Because this is an isolated system. I mean, of course, the Earth moving around the sun is going to have somewhat of an effect, but it doesn't really have an effect on the pendulum itself. And the equation we're able to come up with, which I have right here in front of me, it works regardless of where you are.
Well, then if the motion of the Earth allegedly circling around the sun at about 66,000 miles per hour, and you're saying that doesn't affect the pendulum in relation to the alleged rotation of the Earth of about 1,040 miles per hour, how can you back that up with what you're saying?
So
Not relative doesn't explain. You're not making a strong case here for what you're saying.
So what you're saying is, I guess the rotation of the Earth, the Coriolis effect, it is an effect, but you have to take into account other factors like wind, resistance, for example. That's why when I jump, it's not like I go flying. You know what I'm saying? There are other forces that are in play. The Coriolis effects, it's very minor. And that's why you can't just jump up in the middle of space and go flying. And that's the same kind of reasoning that we use to justify, all sorts of
Well, I believe allegedly, if you were in space, allegedly you could jump up into space and go flying.
Right. Yes. That's in space. On Earth, there are other forces that it's not a vacuum. You understand what I'm saying?
Well, and space is not a vacuum either. But no, the Earth certainly is not a vacuum.
Right, but it's not a total vacuum. But the universe, the outer space, is a lot more like a vacuum than here within the atmosphere. Correct?
No, I totally disagree with you. But I'm not going to discuss about space, because that's on a totally different level, and most people can't really can't handle that concept. So I don't really go there. But I'm just asking you. You're saying the pendulum, and you're using that as a basis with some mathematical equations as evidence for the rotation of the Earth, and I hear what you're saying. What I'm saying is you can't just discount the other motions that the Earth is making.
Right. But what I'm trying to tell you is there are reasons why when we jump up, we don't go flying. The rotation.
Well, I don't think that I wouldn't think that we would go flying when we jump up. That would be ludicrous.
Because there are other forces that are affecting that. The Coriolis effect can be isolated. and we can look at that independently, and that's the purpose of the Foucault pendulum.
But now, are you saying that the Coriolis effect has something to do with the forces that the alleged forces that when you jump up and that you don't go floating away or something? I don't see what you're saying.
No, what I'm saying is the Coriolis effect is, as far as we know, constant. But the reason why when we jump up in the middle of the air here on Earth, we don't go flying is because of other factors, like wind resistance, for example.
You mean other factors besides the Coriolis effect? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, the only reason why this pendulum works is it's a way we can isolate the Coriolis effect and test it independently.
You, there's you're not isolating the Coriolis effect with the pendulum. Okay, the motions that the Earth is allegedly engaged in are not being isolated with a pendulum.
Well, we can test it on different parts of the Earth, and the equation remains the same.
Well, you can write mathematical equations for anything and everything that'll work. It's a quantitative, language, and I don't really see what you're trying to quantify with a pendulum and the Coriolis effect, quite frankly. But anyway, you've not indicated to me in any way how you're isolating only the Coriolis effect. So basically just the rotation of the Earth and not accounting for the other alleged motions that the planet supposedly is in the heliocentric model being engaged in.
Okay, well, when I say I'm isolating the Coriolis effect, I mean I'm taking out other factors like wind resistance, other things like that would be in the experiment.
Yeah, and wind resistance probably, when you're talking about the alleged Earth spinning around the sun and hurtling through space, I doubt that wind resistance here on Earth would really play much of a factor into that.
Okay, well, um, I mean yeah, go ahead, Badger.
I'm curious as to how did the behavior of the sun and the moon fit into the model that you adhere to?
The sun and the moon,
Yeah.
they are luminaries. Yeah, they're luminaries, and they are rotating above us.
Right.
They are rotating around the Earth above us, and
And
they're a lot smaller.
what is keeping them above Earth if everything else seems to be going towards Earth?
I think that it's very possibly an electromagnetic force between the Earth and the luminaries, the sun, the moon, the stars, and the wandering stars, the so-called planets, are all interacting together, sort of like like a Tesla ball with the energies and stuff, the electricity. That's what I suspect, but I don't,
Could you
it's
give
just
me
a theory.
let me know what's a luminary? What's it made out of?
Well, I don't know what it's made out of, but I would guess that it is. I think it is an electrical force within a type of I'm trying to think of what the word I was trying to think of. Some. What am I thinking?
So you don't accept that it's made up of
Some type of.
primarily hydrogen, helium, and other metals?
Think that they are. It's a